Hi, and welcome to the Modern Mystery School YouTube and podcast. How are you all doing? We are ready for another exciting interview today, talking about our favorite subject, Healers Academy, with the lovely Jessica. Jessica, how are you doing?
Hi, Davina Kate. I'm so good. Thank you so much for inviting me. How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. As you know, it's my favorite subject. I think I say that about all magical things, so whatever it is, and it's true. But let's talk about Healers Academy, because yours is an interesting case, I feel, because here you are, private chef, traveling around the world, having this very, free lifestyle and getting to visit all these exotic places and such like. What on earth drew you to Healers Academy? What made you want to go? Tell us.
Oh, thank you. That's such an awesome question. I think I sometimes think about it myself. I go, how did I get here? What did I do? Like what happened? And I had an awakening within an awakening. I was on some sort of spiritual path prior to the mystery school. I tried all the bits and bobs, spiritual butterfly, mehe, and I hit this ceremony one day, and it was a modern mystery school ceremony. And at first I had resistance and I left it. And I was like, that was interesting. I'm just going to continue my life. I'm not going to further anything in this. I'm just going to let it go. And through a friend, through an email, through this, that, and the other, eventually I ended up a couple of months later in a studio with an amazing healer in South Africa, Lee Pearson, amazing, in Cape Town. And she and my guide now, Julia, had a conversation. They had a chat. They're like, she needs a life activation. And I had a life activation. They're like, you also need a Reiki or two. And I'm like, well, I've already had a life activation. Why do I need more? I'm already a Reiki healer. And they're like, no, you need Ensophic Reiki and you need another life activation. And I was like, they're like, you're a rare case. And I'm like, why me? And I did it. And it was in the middle of lockdown in South Africa, in Cape Town. And the borders were shut, and the borders were shut in the UK. And somehow 3 weeks from that life activation, I managed to get through both borders and get into my now guide's studio within 3 weeks of a life activation in the middle of the toughest part of lockdown. I had no cash, I had no drive, I was so confused, and somehow I managed to get there. And when I got into the studio with Julia Tiffin, my guide, I said, I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to make that happen for people, because I found faith within me that I had lost. And yeah, so that was the initial why. That was the initial why.
And I think that resonates with so many of us, is because until you've experienced it, and until you have that, some hits a part of us that we go, and then we can all of a sudden understand, okay, I can do this. I can, whatever it is that I'm here to do, I can think about it. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm focused, whatever it is. And it's different for all of us, even though we receive the same process, but that's the magic, isn't it? And then, so that was your driving force then to get to Healers Academy.
Yeah.
Could you give us a little bit of background? You mentioned that you have been a spiritual butterfly and done many things, which I think is amazing, because then when you find the right thing, you know it's for you.
Yeah.
And could you tell us, was Healers Academy different in any way to things that you've experienced, like walking into the room and the teachings? Can you give us a bit of insight of what it was like for you?
Yes. I would say it's completely different. Experiencing something within our lineage, firstly, it's very royal, it's very holy, it's very sanctified, it's very pure, it's very clean, which was something which was new to me. I was quite used to the esoteric, new age, old African wisdom, spirituality, shamanism, plant medicines, and it was different. I walked into this room and I was like, holy cow, this is it, and I had resistance, I had resistance, not prior to. I heard about it, I had that driving force, and I did everything in my way. I got a job in a private yacht in Dubai. I like flew back in the middle of a charter season to come back and do healers, to fly back over there, to eventually come back to the UK. I made it happen. I put the motion and my mind in place, and it just happened. It flowed. But when I came to Healers Academy and I met all these beautiful, my colleagues now, I was like, but no one really looks, there was one girl who had dreads, and that's what I was used to. I was used to this really beautiful, raw, earthy looking people. Like, there were people wearing suits. I was like, what? Suits? I don't get this, I don't understand, people wearing makeup and they're, beautiful dresses and reverence. And this was new to me. I can see it in my mom. I can see it in all these beautiful women I look up to, but I hadn't experienced it in myself yet. And it mirrored a part of me that I hadn't met yet. And I was like, okay, I had resistance. The ego was going. I was like, oh, she's wearing all makeup, and like, ooh. But inside I was like, but she looks beautiful, so I'm going to give her that. And the room isn't, we have the beautiful Columbia in London, which transforms into this magical temple space, and I can't put it any other way. You walk into a hotel and you step into a temple. And we spent, I believe it's 5 days, receiving handing downs and teachings and step-by-steps on how to perform this profound and magical healing, the life activation. So I fell in love, and I had a South African team there. We had 5, I believe, of Julia's initiates, all from South Africa, all there at the same time, never met each other, all hand in hand going, what are we doing? I was blessed with you. You were also there to teach. We had Davina Ann, Davina Lisa from Brazil. We had an international team, and I heard the stories of how Davina Lisa started the Brazilian school with her wand. She had one wand, started with a life activation. And I was lucky enough last year to go to Alchemy in Brazil to see what she had built up. And everyone in that class was at least, a healer, a life activation practitioner, an RM, a ritual master. There was huge initiations there, and it blew me away. So I wanted to know more.
The power of the wand just can't be explained, can it? It's just like, to the human logical mind, it's like, what, but it's when we experience it, everything changes. Could you tell us, has your life changed since attending Healers Academy and receiving that second step initiation? And if it has changed, how has it changed?
Hugely. I think the biggest thing I would say, I was a drug addict. I was a user of all substances, vices, both behaviors and substances. So from receiving that initiation, I wasn't using, but I still had the occasional drink, and I still relapsed every once in a while. And it was hard because I felt so reverent and so in touch with my spirituality, and then I would fall off the bandwagon. So what happened was I got my initiation for Healers Academy in about February, and by 6 months later, I wasn't working in a very intense environment. I wasn't working in the private yacht chefing industry anymore. I'd taken back my freedom in a way. I had a lot of resistance I had to work to. I moved back to the UK. I connected back with my family. I let go of a lot. So the first 6 months after becoming a life activation practitioner was hard. It was facing a lot of my addiction, a lot of my resistance, my first layer of resistance. So by receiving the initiation as a life activation practitioner, I went through a massive, rapid transformational healing within myself. And I was taking clients here and there, but what it really brought through and was I had to learn to be worthy. I had to honor that I'm worthy. I had to feel that I am worthy. And that's what the first 6 months got that first layer out. The next year, my wand took me to 12 different countries. I don't know how. I activated, I don't know, like 30 people that most of them I didn't know and or hadn't really met. I activated my friends. I have honored and witnessed so many transformation journeys in different countries. I have a client base. I had a global client base before I had a studio. And it was like, I just got thrown out to the world. My job got pulled away last minute. Things just happened. They were nonsensical, but I had my wand and I eventually looked at this beautiful magical tool and I was like, I can't, but you can. So let's do this. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is amazing to hear. I mean, that's huge transformation and huge healing. And I think that's really important for people to have an awareness of, is that, yes, we learn this most magical empowerment tool. In life activation, we learn how to do the aura healing, we learn how to run the max med, and we receive our second step initiation. And through that whole process, it is healing beyond that we can measure. I feel it in those 5 days, that light comes in and it connects to parts of us that we simply could not reach in any other way. I have never experienced anything else that has reached, healing in that. And of course, we talk about the resistance and the and all of that coming up. And as that light comes in, it does hit those parts of us. And I'm so happy that you explained that it's such a beautiful temple space and you're held in that process. Thank you so much for sharing and really, being open to sharing your story, because I know that will, support others in knowing that this could be for them. This could be for them. So thank you so much. And we're so glad to have you on, our team now, Team UKEU. Woo, woo, woo. And may we get you back on the show at a later point to talk about some of the other classes and sessions that you've experienced.
Of course, I would love to. I've got a lot to share. I've got a lot of nuggets that I've picked up along the way that I share with my clients and that I share with my friends as well, in whatever way that I can, because the beauty of a mystery school is, yes, we look into occult studies. These are all things with layers. So I can say something to you and it can mean one thing, but I can say it to someone else and it can unlock a door for them that they didn't know even existed. So that's part of my journey and I would love to continue sharing that with you. So please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jessica. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And all of those of you on Instagram, this is the first time we've done a live feed to Instagram. So yay! So it's a triple celebration. So thank you very much and take care for now and tune in again next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.